Perfect, perfect. How are you doing? Long time no see.
I know. How you been?
I've been good, been good, been covering the fights, been doing a couple movie reviews and all that stuff. So things have been going good. Can't complain. I'm down here in Atlanta, so it's excruciatingly hot. So
Yeah, it's even
happy.
hot up here in New York. Like, yo, why am
Oh,
I here?
yeah, it gets real hot in New York. People don't realize that.
Yeah, I mean, Chicago is always pretty bad
hmm
because of the lake, but now I'm like, yo, this is too much. I mean, my studio is like a green room when it comes to 3 o'clock. Sprouting roots.
So I heard that you said that you're filming something. Are you able to say what you're filming right now, or you got to keep that?
Uh, I'm a keep it hush hush. It's a cool
Okay.
role until they officially announce it, but it's fun. Um, it's I would say it's kind of opposite of this one in some ways, but maybe not. It is different from this one.
Okay.
It is different from Obi. Yeah, but it's fun. I've been working the last week, and I think we're working through September, so it'll be good time. Yeah, I'll keep you posted.
Got it, got it. All right, so let's begin. Of course, I wish this could be under better circumstances for our good friend Obi, but nonetheless, glad to have you back, Kyle Vincent Terry, Obi Okeke from Power Ghosts. When we last talked, I gotta say, I kind of felt like this was coming, the minute you started doing things with the green cards and all that, but I didn't think it would happen this quickly. When you were reading
Right.
the script, did you know it was coming when you were reading this last script?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. When you're like, oh, we doing three? All right, I'm dying. Right. Like I'm not gonna go upstairs like the Winslow girl. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, I knew it was coming. I think I didn't know it was happening as quickly either. I mean, like obviously it's like, oh, okay, we're gonna do it that quickly. Sure. Um, I mean, I don't have necessarily, admittedly, much emotional skin in the game in that way. I do my job, and if I gotta die, I'm cool with it. Like, kill me off. I don't want to just be on vacation. So going out in a blaze of glory is always fun. But yeah, it was definitely like, oh, okay, all right, here we go.
Now, one thing I did say with my recap for this episode, I felt like Noma's actually put herself next on the chopping block by getting rid of Obi. I felt like no matter what she might have felt about Obi, we knew that he was loyal. No matter what mistakes he
Right.
made, he loved her. He would die for her. Now she doesn't have anybody like that around her. So, what do you think was her motivation to do that? Because now she's surrounded by people who want her spot, basically. Even Kane, to me.
Uh, um, in my mind, the way I played it out was like just based off of the interactions of the previous season and this one. I was like, oh, she's reactionary. She's super reactionary, and that doesn't usually work out for people. Or you don't work out. It doesn't work out in life, generally speaking. When people are reactionary, I'm like, look, bro, you could only do that so long before you're beat by a person with a better plan. And so I think when he's having that moment of like, I've I've maintained this, right? Like I think he really meant that. Like while you're being rash, I'm maintaining structure.
Absolutely.
So in my mind, I'm like, yo, that's when people make rash decisions. That ain't no friends in the game. They're gonna come for you.
That's true. Now, I don't know if you remember when we did the last interview, I asked you which Tajeda you would kill first, and you said Drew. Turns out you were spot on. He was the one that needed to go. Uh, what is it about him that, because he irks me too. I want to see him out of here. What do you think it is about Drew that just kind of irritates people out of all the Tajadas? Because they're all pretty terrible, but him in particular, I think he really grinds people as far as how he acts.
I mean, if this is I think Drew feels the most Gen Z
It's a good point.
in
Think about
in
that.
a way. Like I think he strikes at a couple kind of social sticking points that people are somewhat ingratiated by. I don't think it's necessarily a fault of his. I think it's just kind of a zeitgeist thing. But I also think like it's he seems also the most adolescent, right? Like you're not sure if he's in his youthful stage or in his adult stage, and I don't think he does either. And that's just annoying. Like it's just annoying. Like he can't win. Like there's no way he can win in that regard. He's not as say cool and uh Raphael Ninja Turtle like as Kane. He's not like the fly guy like Tariq, on that end. Like there's just all these younger people who have this pre-prescribed vibe that we're familiar with, and he's not that.
Hmm.
And I think generally speaking, people like that are often annoying to people. It doesn't mean that they're not supposed to be in charge, though.
It's true. It's true. So I'm interested, once you get a
Yeah,
script like this, do you know what's going to happen at the rest of the season, or does everything cut off with the script where you die?
it cuts off for me in this regard because I'm not a regular,
Okay.
right? So I really get my stuff like days before for this stuff,
Interesting. Okay. So you're gonna
including the Evo.
oh.
So I'm like, okay, all right, you got to figure this out. All right. So yeah, I don't know where the arc is now. I'm just a casual observer like everybody else.
Okay, so now I can get some predictions from you because now you know the Tejadas, once again, they're at odds with each other. Who do you think goes next out of everyone? And who do you think, if you had to predict as far as the Tejadas go, who remains and who else is going to be out of here by the end of the show?
I'm still sticking with Drew. I'm still sticking with Drew. I'm still sticking with Drew. I th- this is a tough call. This is a tough call.
It is.
It's a really tough call. Okay. I think Drew makes it.
Okay. Goes legit or stays in the game?
No, I think he stays.
Okay.
I think he stays in the game. But I think he stays in the game. I think one, he's already proven himself to be a ridiculous backstabber in the last episode.
True.
Like, why, bro? Why was you? Why? It's crazy. Um, I think I don't think I feel like we don't lose Kane for another couple episodes.
Okay. Got it.
Like, but I think he dies. I think he dies. That's just what I'm saying.
Hmm.
Um, hmm. Ah, ah, ah. Is it Monet? I think it's Monet. Oh,
Here's my little hot take.
all right. Tell me.
I think Monet gets killed by the auntie, Golden Brooks character that's been hanging around,
Oh,
acting like she said subtle things as far as like I like your clothes.
okay.
You got all these things that I wish I had. I think there's a little bit of jealousy there. I
Little
think
bit of
that's her
jealousy.
opportunity with the kids
Yeah,
all
yeah, yeah.
fractured. I think she takes because no Monet won't see it coming. That's the one person
Right.
she wouldn't suspect of doing
Mm-hmm.
something. But I think she
I,
takes
I
it.
I think she got to go. I
Yeah.
think it's her time. I
Oh
think
yeah.
it's her time. When she started buzzing out, I was like, oh, she having flashbacks. She about to go.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I still think Drew makes it. I still
Interesting.
think he's I still think he's the boss.
That
But
kind of tracks. The worst people seem to live the longest, even in real life.
yeah, yeah, and like I just the older I get, the less I think karma is real.
I think we all can be on that same point. You see some of these
Like
dictators and everything, they be in their 85, 90 years old. It's like, come on, man.
no comeuppance whatsoever. None.
Hmm.
Like justice. I avoided justice all my life. Okay, all right.
Exactly. I wanted to ask you about Michael Ealy's character because you guys had a lot of
Sure.
time with him having you in the police station. He's been doing a good job to me, but as far as the character, they've really been playing him straight. I was expecting him to be like kind of a ruthless cop. Do you think he needs to tap into that to really be somebody that could realistically take down somebody like Tariq? To me, you have to work outside of the law if you're going to try and take people like Tariq down.
Good question. On first thought, I would say no. Personally, I feel like it would be nice to see him just being a superior cop.
Mm, no?
Partly because corruption is the no disrespect intended, but the dumb arc of the whole power universe.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So how do you take someone down if you're corruptible? If your character is corruptible, then someone can get you. Someone can always find your weakness. So to me, what I like about him is that he is super straight. Like there, I have everything I need to get you. That's it. I don't know. That's me. But yeah, I appreciate the idea of like real police work going on as opposed to the dingy cop idea, the dirty badge idea. I just think like it's nice to see somebody who's like just really good at their job.
That's actually a point I didn't think about because everybody else has been corrupt on the law side. It either destroys their case or they end up getting killed. So that's
Right.
actually an excellent
Like,
point. Yeah.
yo, keep your nose clean so we can get up out of here because you ain't got another season to get dirty. So you might as well wrap it up right now. But no, I actually love that he came in with the energy being, I'm a cop, I'm gonna get you. I'm not gonna push you too hard. I'm not here to break any law. I'm here to get you, and we'll get you however we need to.
Mhm. What do you think was Obi's motivation not to leave? Because he said that anytime you can leave, but he ended up staying there overnight, and that indirectly led to him getting killed. What do you think was his motivation not
For
to?
for for me, ironically, the thought was, if I leave now, who saw me go in?
Ah, okay.
Right? Like, do I give myself time to let whatever has been happening before slow down a little bit, give myself a night? Or do I go in and then immediately rush out and somebody's like, damn, he came out quick?
Hmm.
I mean, it's only, it's a day, but a lot of talking can happen real fast.
That's a very, very good point. Very good point. You talked about before that you don't mind getting killed. Like some people when they get the
Yeah, I
scripts,
don't.
I'm losing the part and everything.
Nope.
What makes you so comfortable with that as far as like having a death scene early on in the series like that, earlier than you anticipated? What makes you comfortable with that? Because some people feel it's a crushing blow once they have to exit the show that they've been on for a long period of time.
One, I'm an actor, so Lord willing or whatever, I'll respawn as something else.
Hmm.
I also think like I'm not the marrying type, generally speaking. I'm not trying to get too attached to anything. Part of the thing that I love about getting to play characters is not feeling that they have to become my person. So if I know that I have an end, one, I always hope that people miss me a little bit. You know what I mean? Like,
Definitely.
so if people are like, and I did my job. Uh, but there's so many times in this business, especially if you have some level of individuality, where your work can end without death. You can just be fired or a contract can terminate, whatever it is. So getting killed means somebody felt you had to go, right? Like they had to definitively get rid of you, otherwise people would wonder. So I take it as a badge of honor, and just having the job to me um, is all the respect I need. I'm never gonna be the person, I say this now, but I'm sure it will happen at some point, who wants to overstay their welcome.
Right.
And so if it feels like it's run its course, it's run its course. Like it's no bad blood. I'm on to the next one.
Got it. Got it. Now, one thing people don't
Yeah.
realize with the media when we get these early screeners is normally at the bottom is like a big watermark that says like screener. So in this case,
Mm-hmm.
a big detriment because when you had your death scene, I know you said something to her, and the
Uh,
subtitle went at the bottom, couldn't read it. So I was going to ask you, did you curse
uh,
at the end after you got stabbed in the neck?
yeah, I called her a devil.
Ah, okay. And what did she say
Yeah.
back? The same thing, or I am a devil?
I'm trying to remember. Something like that.
Okay, got it, got it. Because I was
I'm
wondering, I'm
trying to
like,
remember.
what did you say? I felt like that was a very, very important part, and we just couldn't
Yeah.
read it over the screen attack. Got it.
After she stabbed me, I stopped listening. Yeah,
uh,
that was a cool scene. I actually really like that scene.
exactly. Now, I know when you have to embody a character, you're thinking in your mind little details about them and everything. What's one
Mm-hmm.
thing about Obi's background that you internalize for yourself to embody the character that we wouldn't notice just watching him on screen?
Mm. Oh, so with every character, you'll have to go check because I don't quite remember what it is. That was a year ago.
Mhm.
Um, but I always have something personal that's a tick for when they're thinking,
Okay.
like a small hedge for when they're thinking. I can't quite remember what it was for Obi, and part of it is because like I have another character now, so now I'm like, oh, what does that person do when they're thinking?
Mhm.
Um, I also think with God, I'm trying to remember. It's hard after a year. It's
Right.
really hard after a year to remember that process. I mean, I did 3 roles since then.
True.
So I'm kind of like, Obi, what was that source like? I can't remember. I truly can't remember anymore. But it's definitely a hedge when thinking.
Okay. Because I do know I always got the impression once an American character does something a little silly, when it goes to you, it's almost like you have a smirk on your face, like dumb American.
Always, always.
All American. I was expecting that.
I also okay. There's something about processing American stupidity,
Hmm.
right? Like a visual processing of American stupidity, because everybody knows the epicness of Nigerian shade,
Of course.
right? And so it's like, how do you present that without speaking? So it's just like the take in certain moments of like actively hearing a thing, physically hearing a thing. I think was big for him.
Got it. Got it. Now, another prediction I wanted to get from you. I
Mm-hmm.
was 50-50 on whether Tariq actually dies by the end of the series or if he wins and becomes the new ghost, like fulfills his father's legacy and takes on that entire mantle. Do you feel the show would be incomplete if we don't have a flashback or a ghost sequence where Tariq finally confronts James St. Patrick and they have it out either in the spiritual realm or when Tariq is about to die? Because we've had
Incomplete.
situations like that with Kanan and other characters we've seen
Right,
do
right,
that.
right.
Do we need to have that scene to actually complete the series before it's over with?
Wow. I hadn't thought about this until this moment. Maybe yes. Like, yeah, I never thought about that. Yeah, I think given the nature of a lot of the storytelling regarding that closure or reconnection, yeah, I think that would be a better ending. I don't think he dies.
Okay.
Practically speaking, ain't no money in that. But
Mm.
um,
Remember that money is important. Always about the money with
yeah, yeah,
you.
yeah. But I could certainly see that being a fulfilling way
Mhm.
to go out of season 4. My question is, did they plan for that?
That's a big one. That's a big one.
Right? Did they account for that? But I can't imagine anybody's too far away. A phone call on the flight ain't too much.
Exactly. That's just what I was thinking. And also in this episode, I noticed that Tate's brother came back, as far as a character might possibly working with Agent Carter. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
always wondering, I think it's one of the big missteps with Power is I think they should not have canceled the potential Lorenz Tate show, like having that spinoff dealing with the politics, because that's one thing Power's never touched on, which I thought would be really, really fascinating. No, it wouldn't be like The Wire, but it still could be pretty engaging for them to kind of go down that path. Do you think if you had the power, should that be something that they should revisit, particularly with an actor like
Yeah.
Brent State?
All right. I'm gonna speak from my personal taste. Absolutely. And here's why. I have a bone to pick, admittedly, with black crime media in
Mm,
some way. One, I feel like black organized crime shows often talk about recidivism. So somebody who goes straight and then for some reason backslides. And
mm,
like that don't really happen. Like it doesn't really happen. So to me, like it would offer an opportunity. I mean, I'm sure we all have family and friends, whatever, race, creed, or color you are, who've done some dirt and then got their life together, or just stayed doing dirt. But the
Exactly.
idea of like becoming so powerful that you get to escape it and then you just get called back to the street is crazy to me. It's crazy. Um, but to me, the idea of Councilman Tate's journey is actually just an embedding into crime, right? Like it's not recidivism. You're not like dirty and go clean. You're clean and you go political. And to me, I think that would be a great arc in the way that for its brief history, Boss kind of dealt with that. Um, there are other shows that deal with the harshness of politics in a way, and I think it would be good to see the viciousness of the political sphere. Uh, I can't think of a better term, so forgive me. I do not think this is accurate, but um, not through a black lens. Actually, let me not say that. With a veneer of urban blackness on it.
All right, so I'm gonna clip this. I'm gonna send it to on IG to Courtney Kemp so she can take a look, see if she gets
I
who's turning again.
tell her I want that percentage.
Exactly, because this is recorded. So you did mention, I know, this particular role that you're working on now, you couldn't really mention, but there's been other roles, other roles that you've been working on.
Sure.
What can you give us about where we can see you next, either on the big screen, small
Well,
screen?
I just finished Girls on the Bus.
Okay.
That season just ended. They're not getting renewed.
Hmm.
Totally fine. Nature of the business. I did Blue Bloods a little while back. Um, and then I think the thing I'm working on next will be early next year, I think.
Okay.
I'll be sure to tell you about it. But it's very cool. I'm having
Excellent. Like you mentioned, it's totally different from Obi.
blast. Having a
Got it.
blast. Um, yeah, it's very different. Kind of more in the vein of the Councilman Tate idea, like not going back to the street, but getting trapped in the politics of all that encompasses urban organization. So
All
it'll be
right.
fun.
All right. How about your visual art? How's things been going on that front?
Oh, it's good. It's good. Actually, I'm working on some new stuff now, luxury insults, and that'll be ready in a year or so. It's oil paint, so it takes forever.
Got it.
You know,
Got
you got to work slow. And then I'm actually forcing myself to bring my camera to set. So I'm taking a lot of cool photos that are anachronistic in that we're shooting in period. So you have like, these period wardrobe shots, but it's a Ford Explorer in the background driving down the street. You're like, what year is it?
it.
Um, so I'm doing a lot of photography. I'm still painting. Ideally, I'll have a show ready for the end of this year,
Okay.
beginning of next year.
Now let everybody know where they can follow you on social media so they can keep abreast of all these activities.
Yeah, you can find me at KT Schmoove on that's KTSHMOOV on Instagram and also on Twitter. And I think I'm the same on TikTok. I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
Whatever.
I'll look it up. I'm
Um,
flashing on the screen.
yeah. And yeah, follow me if you like. I post less frequently right now, but I'll get back to it now that it's summertime and we're out and about more. I'll be sure to be more social on the medias.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now I know we're a little bit late, but I do think we have to do a victory lap because remember, me and you were the ones that predicted Terence Crawford was
Right.
going to destroy Errol Spence. So we were
That's right.
right.
I've been waiting to talk to you about that this whole time.
I'll try
We
and tell
called
people.
that.
I'll try to
No, it
tell
wasn't even
people.
close. It wasn't even close.
Mhm.
Terence Crawford is a. There's
Yeah,
nothing like who's gonna come get him.
it has to be somebody bigger. It's going to be a
Yeah,
situation where he's out of his weight class and it's just too big of a weight jump. Maybe Canelo or somebody like that. But to me, anyone 147,
it's
154,
not a chance
he's too skilled.
because he's a big 147. Like
Right.
he's a very big 147. He's a monster. And I heard we got Tank and Loma
That's probably the one that's going to be next.
in
Is the
November.
first one to make. Yeah, they still haven't narrowed down the date, but that's where it's going to look. Probably it's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens with Shakur. I still think technically he's about as good as it gets. He runs a lot. He's
Yeah,
gonna have to start fighting more. Because nobody wants to take that fight.
right. Exactly. And to me, it's a question of if he gets cornered and if he's forced to fight, where's his mentality at that? Does he shy away
Right.
from getting hit? Is there a reason why he runs? Is it just because he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't want to get hit? So that's what we'll have to see when someone can push him enough where he's kind of forced to fight. Because we know the skill set is there, but how good is his chin?
Yeah. Who are you watching now? Who are you into now? Any young folks you're into?
So I like Keyshawn Davis. Is another guy.
Oh, literally who I was gonna say. But go
Okay, Keyshawn's another
ahead.
one. Abdullah Mason's another one that's
Yep.
really come up. Those are two because he's only 18. So those are two guys
Mm-hmm.
that I really like. As far as established guys, you mentioned Crawford, Nawa Inoue out of
Oh
Japan.
yeah.
If he's the one person I'll travel to, like I'm contemplating his next fight going out to Japan,
Yeah.
everything to match up. You know, because
That'd be
the older fighters like that, the smaller weight classes, they kind of burn out quickly. So
right, right, right.
I only have him for a few more years, and he's excellent. He's probably one of the best fighters I've ever.
He's nice. Like to be that technically sound and hit that hard is crazy.
Mhm. So I had to get your take also as far as Ryan Garcia just got suspended for a year for the
Yeah.
drug tests and everything. It's been kind of wild to see people still defending him despite that. Like people are more mad at Devin and he's the one that got cheated, which is crazy to me. Uh, just your opinion on Devin, because he still took a
Mm,
big beating. You can't take those punches back, even though the decision is
right.
reversed. Do you think he's going to still be the same, or do you think he's going to be a different fighter next time we see him in the ring?
Oh, it's a good question. I don't know. It's hard for me to see him just from what I see of him. I never think of him. I've never thought of him, even when he was younger, as like the bully.
Mm-hmm.
He always seemed tough, right? Like no disrespect, but he never seemed like the top dog. It seemed like his will could be taken.
Right.
And so part of my thing with him is like I don't know if he has the I've never seen the kind of fight in him that makes me think he gets up madder than he went down.
It's excellent.
But I he's young, so he's still pretty young. So he might find it with this. He
Right.
hasn't really been tested that hard.
That's what they used to say. The old timers would be like, your career begins after your first loss. That's what they used to say
Right.
back in the 50s and 60s. We totally went away from
Yep.
that now, but we shall see because this is they
Yeah.
make a test. Can he come back from this and still establish himself again? So that's what we'll have to watch out for.
Yeah. 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 What are your thoughts?
My thing is, I think his skill will always keep him at the upper echelon of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But my concern is his chin. And the reason why is because he's been hurt before. And there's no
Yep.
problem getting hurt. You're getting punched. It's going to happen.
Right.
But to me, his recovery time is what concerns me because when he gets hurt, it's like he stays hurt for like
Yeah. Yeah.
3, 4 rounds.
I
And
see
I'm
that.
like, that's always going to be a problem. If you can't recuperate like that, to me, it's always going to be a ceiling on how high you can get. So when it's come time to face somebody like Tank or those bigger punchers, I think it's always going to be an uphill battle for him because at some point they're going to touch you. They're just
Yep.
too skilled not to. And if you can't recover, after a round or two,
They're gonna eat you. They're gonna eat you alive.
exactly. So that's where I think the problem's going. I thought it was going to be over with once he started going up in weight. I thought that was the problem, but I think it's just a prolonged issue. No matter what weight he's going to be at, that's always going to be an issue.
Yeah. 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 I wish he were more easy to like read because he seems so technically proficient, but doesn't quite have a personality as a fighter, right? Like I don't really know what his jab is crazy, and that's kind of all I can say about him. Do you know what I mean? Like I never really feel like he's like with Tank. I'm like Tank is setting you up.
Right.
Tank's setting you up the whole time. Like he's okay. I can watch him do it. I can watch him do it. I can watch other guys. I can watch Terence kind of just like wear you down, and then eventually he's like, it's over, right? But with
Mhm.
Devin, I'm like, I don't really know what his personality.
Devin, now that you mention that, Devin to me is like a neat fighter. As long as the fight stays
Mm-hmm.
in his comfort level, he's fine. When it starts where he has to adapt, where it's getting wild, That's when he starts getting frazzled. Because now that you mentioned
Right,
back, I do think he beat Loma, but in those later rounds, you can see how uncomfortable he was getting when
right.
Loma was putting the pressure on him. That's a really good point, actually.
Like you put him in with somebody like a Pacquiao, you're like, oh, there's nothing he would know. He would know. He'd have no plan for that.
Hmm.
With those punches coming at weird angles, like I just don't see him having that kind of the same way his chin doesn't. He doesn't recover quickly in that way. I don't think he adjusts quickly when it comes to unorthodoxy.
That's a good point. Excellent point. Now, Devin, I know you probably want to see this because he's on social media. You still root.
Uh,
Prove us wrong. That's the thing. If you can do it, hey, we give you all the credit.
yeah, yeah. I'm not. I have no ill will towards the man whatsoever. I think he's clearly put in the work.
Hmm.
We'll just see if he can make that jump. There's I don't know. There's like that. Everybody I say meets the wave at some point, right?
Hmm.
Like the tsunami wave where you're like, oh, I'm mortal.
Right.
And you got to figure if you're gonna surf it or get swallowed up.
And we're at the point now where everybody kind of has to fight each other. Ryan,
Right,
Devin,
right, right.
Haney, T.O., Shakur. So we're looking for all of them to mix it up, and whoever comes out on top, we'll see.
Look, it's a
If I had
great.
to
It's a
guess, I think it would be Tank. Because to me, like you said, he has
yeah,
that mentality. If I had to guess, it's probably going to be him.
yeah. He's a surgeon.
Hmm.
He's a surgeon. Like he's gonna get to that one spot that he needs to get
Right.
to not have to fight you anymore.
Hmm. Yeah. His only problem would be because it's his height. So he's probably going to put,
Right, right, right,
I think 147, even that is too shaky. It has to be like the right
right.
matchup. But from 135 to 140, I can't really see anybody
Ain't
hitting
nobody touching that man.
12 rounds, right?
Ain't nobody touching that man. Like he's he's tough. He's durable. He adjusts. He doesn't get winded,
Hmm.
and he's got a brick hand if he needs it.
Right. And the southpaw, power punching.
Yeah,
That's always
like
difficult.
holla at your boy. That's me.
Well, Kyle, I think that's a great way to end. We're going to mourn the loss of Obi. We appreciated him for all the time he's been around, and we'll see where the end of power goes. They say power never ends. Maybe they
That's
call you
right.
back. They need you as a ghost to criticize Noma in her last moments. You never know.
Like I told you.
Right. All right,
Thanks so
man.
much for having me.
No problem. Best of luck on this new project. Can't wait to see it next year.
Absolutely. Have a great one.
All right, you too, man. Appreciate you.
All right. Talk to you soon.
All right, take care.